Ashley Callingbull is the first First Nations person, Cree, and Canadian to win Miss Universe. And a lot of people are celebrating this as a massive step forward in the rights of First Nations people. This is a step up in society for them, that they can now be recognized for things on what is supposedly supposed to be the same level as white people. But I mean, I hate to be down on people's parade, but this woman winning Miss Universe is actually not a good thing. First and foremost, beauty pageants are not a good thing. They're actually a bad thing. They're patriarchal. They reinforce the idea that women are property and that they should be judged on their looks. Yes, I know, supposedly Miss Universe people are judged on their contributions to society, their charitable work, which is why there's so many fat women in Miss Universe, right? Despite this attempt to try to change the appearance of Miss Universe, the substance remains the same. It is nothing more than a superficial judging of women, which is inherently patriarchal. The fact that a First Nations woman won it is not particularly significant, because it is still in the end very harmful to women, including First Nations women. Now, the second issue I want to talk about is Mrs. Callingbull using her position as Miss Universe to forward the plight of First Nations people, not just, within Canada, but within the UN as well. And hopefully this would raise a lot of awareness of the problems that exist that are seemingly being ignored. And one of her main goals was to tell people that they needed to vote Stephen Harper out of office. It's so crucial that we vote a new Prime Minister in because we need a new Prime Minister. I believe we need to fight for our rights and we need to vote. Other countries need to know what's going on in ours. It feels like the government just does not care about us. This government is very controlling of our people, and soon enough our rights might be taken away. And if I have the voice to bring awareness, I'm going to use it. Now, with all due respect, I'm going to have to disagree for two primary reasons. One, unfortunately, or maybe appropriately, no one cares what Miss Universe has to say. Historically, that position has meant absolutely nothing. The public doesn't care what Miss Universe, regardless of what her race is, has to say, because it's a completely frivolous title that has no substance and is inherently patriarchal. Why would people take someone who is being held up as an icon of the effects of patriarchy seriously? It's like, why would men take a woman who agrees with their degradation seriously? I mean, I'm not being racist here. I'm pointing out the fact that beauty pageants are inherently patriarchal, and that historically, Miss Universe has not been a title which has been taken seriously by people in the world, and is certainly not particularly linked with anything good happening. Now, the second point I wanted to make here is that despite all of her good intentions, and as much as Stephen Harper needs to just disappear off the face of the earth like all the women, the First Nations women that he's ignoring, not voting for him or voting for someone else is not going to change anything. All of the politicians before him, the Liberals, have never cared. This has never changed for First Nations people. All of the previous prime ministers have never cared. Voting has never made a difference, not in any significant manner. Very small, light, cosmetic things, but nothing that really inherently challenged the system or ended the oppression. I'm not trying to be a downer here. I'm not trying to rain all over her parade. I'm not being racist. I'm pointing out true facts. What she is advocating is simple liberal reforms, which do not work. There is no Marxist worth their salt who can honestly look themselves in the mirror and say, social democratic reforms will bring a solution to problems. First Nations people don't matter to politicians. First Nations people don't matter to the average white person in Canada. And no amount of appealing to their conscience or telling them to vote something different will ever make a difference. Even if every First Nations person in the country voted one particular way, it still wouldn't have enough of an impact on the country to actually decide an election. And that's just the truth. That's just the reality of the numbers of First Nations people in the country. The tremendous damage that's being done, particularly to First Nations women with the abductions, the murders, and sex trafficking, will not be dealt with by a bourgeois politician. It will not be dealt with by capitalism. So I'm sorry if you feel like this is raining on her parade or that this is somehow racist. It isn't. I'm speaking the plain and simple fact. There is no substitution for revolution. Nothing can take the place of radical action against an oppressive system. But I understand where she's coming from. A First Nations person has done something that has never been done before. There's been no First Nations person in this position. So with the excitement with this, with the sense of empowerment that comes with it, she wants to make that change. Just like the first First Nations politician got in. And there was a sense of hope. He had a real sense that he could change things when he got in. But did anything really change? Did becoming part of the system of oppression end that oppression? No. So I would say that as much as this feels like an accomplishment to many people, it inherently does not challenge the system in any way, shape, or form. First Nations people need revolution, not reform. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.